Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back again with Ronnie Feldman for another episode of Creativity and Compliance. Welcome back, Ronnie.
Hey, everybody.
Ronnie, we're recording this in actually late September for October, early October posting, and we wanted to talk to people about the 2024 Corporate Compliance Week, which is celebrated annually in November. We both think it's a great opportunity for compliance programs and compliance professionals to have the chance to emphasize to their fellow employees what a corporate compliance program is, and more importantly, how to garner engagement. So, what are some of the things you might suggest that a corporate compliance function, a corporate compliance personnel, or even a CCO think about around a celebration like Compliance Week 2024?
Yeah. So, at the real high level, I think it's super important because it's a way to draw focus on your program and what you mean to people. It's also a time to reinvent yourself. As those who've listened to this podcast before, we know that compliance, for the most part, is considered a dirty word to a lot of people. It's a scary thing. It's something that people don't think about. It has the connotation of the finger wag, the negative Nancy. What's your phrase you always like?
Dr. No from the land of no.
Actor Love from the end. So we've been doing a lot. Obviously, the more progressive programs are doing a lot to change that. But to the extent that you haven't done that, or even if you have, this is an opportunity to reintroduce yourself to the organization. So there is benefit in doing things that are fun and interesting and slightly provocative for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's your week to draw focus on your program. So you want to do something that stands out, rise above the noise, rise above the sea of information that people are being bombarded with. So you have to do something interesting and provocative. When you do something that's entertaining in some way, it taps into your emotional connection. So people tend to remember that more. And then there's the halo effect, because then afterwards, they're more likely to come talk to you and ask for your advice. So the value of doing things, quite frankly, throughout the year that are positive, fun, interesting is helpful. There's value in that. So we always say this is a good launching point. So let's get into some ideas. Interactivity is always good. We have at L&E a new series. It's an interactive choose your adventure, should I speak up game? And we just created that with the idea that it's a very serious subject. We know that everybody says that they're going to speak up and most people do not, because most people are uncomfortable with the subject and there's a lot of excuses. So we've created a game, if you will, called Risky Business, where you have to click through and at every moment say, do I know what to do when I speak up? Yes, no, maybe. And depending on what you click, it takes you down a journey where you're actually rewarded for exploring, meaning there is some fun built in. There's little sort of non sequitur pieces that have fun, but mostly throughout the whole thing, it's reinforcing this is what happens. These are your options. And then it says, now that you know the options, will you speak up? Yes, no, maybe. And if they click maybe or no, it has a bunch of excuses and they can click on each excuse. And then it sort of debunks those excuses or explains why those excuses are not so great. And anyway, it takes you through a little bit of a journey. So those are fun things. That's an example of a way of an interactive 5 to 10 minute thing, maybe less if they click through it real quickly, where there's reward at each thing as well as information. We have another one that we just created called says, we all know we come across bad behavior. We should speak up about it, but not everybody does. See if you can pick out the good excuses. And of course, we know there are no good excuses. So we made a series of ridiculous and serious excuses, and they have to click through and pick through which ones they think are good or not. And whether they pick the right thing or the wrong thing, there's always reinforcement at the end. So we love the idea of interactivity, something that engages people, that provides a little reward, but some information. I'm working on a new one which is super silly, called Compliance or Appliance. And it's literally like alternating compliance policies with a blender and a microwave. So here's some information, here's something silly. Here's some information, here's something silly. So we have a whole series of those. But whether or not you have an interactive game like that, even pushing out a short fun video, posting it on your newsletter, pushing it out via email, playing it during a Zoom or a Teams meeting. We like the idea that if you have something that's short and fun, you can ask questions about it. We have a music video that we've done where there's a line that says, compliance isn't scary like gluten, nuts, and dairy, which is a silly little line. But you can, if you could, you post that a line and you say, fill in the blank, compliance isn't scary like what? So there are ways to actually put out some piece of provocative information or video of some sort, and then ask people to engage with that is a good idea. I have a couple other ideas, but let me pause and get your reactions.
I love it. Gluten, nuts, and dairy. Even I can remember that one. Actually, what I want to say is you have rubbed off on me because I have done something creatively. And I think our listeners know I've written 3 children's books. Well, I was able to animate a short part. And with a little luck, I'm going to be able to pull this up on the screen.
Oh, cool. Do I need to fill time? Do we need to do the do, 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 do.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. No?
Tom, you
That
give
was
us.
awesome by Tom Fox.
This book is dedicated to Michael and Melissa Novelli, co-founders of Podtastic Friends, which provides dog enrichment training for homeless dogs, improving their quality of life and helping them find their forever home.
Check out the full 3-book series, The Compliance Kids, on Amazon.com.
How about that?
My goodness.
So,
I didn't know you had it in you, Tom.
and in fact, I've now taken and animated the entire book. That's going to be available too. And what not only do I want to sell those, full disclosure, buy my book and the animated part, but it really shows, Ronnie, that there's so much you can do creatively. And it doesn't really matter what it is, but if it's different, people are going to go, wow, I didn't expect that from Tom Fox. That's different, you
Yeah,
know?
we've had, so congratulations on that. I mean, look, everybody likes different things, but remember, people are so busy. Just think of your own lives. You're getting pinged on your phone. You're getting tons of corporate messages. You're getting pulled into lots of meetings. So things that are interesting, and again, doesn't have to be funny, although we think that's a good use, but things that are interesting, drama, storytelling, music, there's talk shows, game shows, all sorts of these things that is how people consume information in their everyday lives. Those are great ways to stand out in a kind of bland corporate environment. So we need to take advantage of these. I'm not always a fan of some of the free tools and stuff like that, but obviously if you have no budget, you certainly could. Here's an idea. So I was just at the SCCE conference and I was talking to a variety of different folks who are doing creative things. There's one company that did a pets of privacy contest. So they basically had people pose with their pets. Underneath it, they put a privacy principle and they set up like an NCAA tournament style bracket where people got to vote on their favorite pets of privacy. And then within that is a reinforcement of the principles as each one advanced. Such a simple idea that really it took a lot of thought and care, but not a lot of money. So I love that idea. There's the other games that are pretty common did you ever play party game, 2 truths and a lie? You can do 2 truths and a lie about your policy. Say two true things about your policy and then the untrue thing, which can be serious or funny. So these are all ways that you can promote your program without being boring. Pretty common one, spot the problem. We made a series a few years back called Risks While Working Remotely. And essentially it's like a graphics it basically shows a series. It's like almost like a comic book, but we use real actors. So a series of slides that shows somebody doing something wrong. And then it's followed by a short 60-second video highlighting the lesson. So companies often will put that out during the week, spot the problem, and then the next day they provide the solution or the information. So that's an easy one to do. So that's good. Go ahead.
Let me change the focus just a little bit, Ronnie, to the following. Corporate Compliance Week is designed to be a week not only celebrate compliance, but also use it as a jumping off point. So could you help maybe the compliance professional listening to think about how would you use whatever you unveil at Corporate Compliance Week really just as the starting point? And how could it be a starting point for a 3 month, 6 months, or even 1 year sort of thematic program around compliance instead of perhaps thinking about, let me get third party due diligence in front of everybody this week? How could you get people to maybe think about, oh, there's a whole process here, and here's my role in that process, and here's when I go to compliance? So it's really, can you help people think about using it really as a starting point for an entire campaign?
Yeah. Just writing a note to myself. Yes. I mean, I'm a big proponent of this. I think if you give yourself permission to be fun and interesting during this week and we all intuitively get that's valuable, why aren't we doing this throughout the year? Like it's a great opportunity to have an easy win. We were fun and interesting during this week. We drew attention. You can measure success. Look how many people accessed our policy. Look how many people watched our videos. Look how many people played our games. Look how much swag we gave out, all of those things. And then parlay that, use that as your business case to do this throughout the year, because doing things that are short, fun, frequent, and interesting is a more effective solution because it's increasing your visibility without taking up too much time. And we all know that, I guess we don't all know this, but I'm a big believer that training should be shorter, less seat time on your training and more communication touch points. Because you want to train people on policies and measure that they quote unquote know them, but we know that they need to be reinforced over time. And we know that we need to get speak up culture. We need to want to say that as often as possible. Here are the resources. Here's why you need to do it. It's safe and anonymous. There's the hotline and all the different ways. You want to get that in the atmosphere all as possible, as often as possible. All these ideas that we're saying could be done on a monthly basis. The monthly post and push, post the fun thing, drive traffic to your resources. But one thing, and another thing that's even better than just you posting and pushing these things, these fun videos, these fun interactive games and experiences, is then packaging those things and giving them to leaders and making them deploy it. Or if you have an ethics ambassadors program or compliance champions program, or even just if you got different regions, give it to a regional leader and you say, hey, here's a fun video, give them that thing, give them a 1-page talking point. This is what you want people to get out of it. And you package it up and make it easy for them to deliver. Then you really got something. So to me, it's the first lesson is to use the successes to do it more frequently. And then even better, pre-package those things and then give it to leaders and they'll do it without the eye roll if it's fun and interesting, if it makes them look good. Improv principle number 1, make your partner look good and they will make you look good. Works the same in business. Make your partners look good and they will make you look good. So if you give them fun and interesting things, they will use the fun and interesting things because it makes them look good. And then, by the way, you're getting more visibility without taking up more time and without you doing it, because you need to get other people involved. There's only a few of you and lots of them. Yeah. So the meeting in the box, the pre-packaging of the things, that's all good. And again, it could be something they just play during a Zoom meeting, or maybe they're encouraging it or reinforcing it. The thoughts or questions? What do you think?
Ronnie, we've done a lot of podcasts, and I think that's about the best 60 seconds you have ever done in any podcast, ever. In addition to that, you gave us the title of this episode, Without the Eye Roll. Doesn't get much better than that. Corporate Compliance Week is November 3rd through 9th, 2024. So we've got about 5 weeks. I hope that our listeners will, if they haven't started thinking about it, get going on it because it's a great opportunity. I hope they maybe even will pick up the phone and call you because it strikes me that you might be able to help them even at this point. Any real final thoughts on, other than getting off your duff and get going, what final thoughts might you have for our listeners, Ronnie?
Yeah, I've actually had a bunch more ideas that I could share, but so we can certainly, let me rattle off a couple real quick. Obviously, you can engage involved leaders is always good. Interview shows, talk shows, game shows are good. make your own song, change lyrics to a song, like to make it about a compliance. That's a good way to involve people. And then bringing in speakers is always a good idea. We teach improvisation to people. That's always a fun way to kind of get the message out and involve people. So anyway, point is, whatever resources you have, there are options to be creative, and we encourage you to use them because it will help you be successful.
That's a great way to end this podcast, Ronnie. I look forward to continuing our conversation.
All right. Bye, everybody.